Is buying older camera technology still worth it? Got a great question from Jamie here, who's a wedding and event photographer, and he's saying that he's stuck between upgrading to a Nikon D700 or a D610, both the full frame cameras, the D700 being a much older camera and only being 12 megapixels, meanwhile the D610 being a 24 megapixel camera, full frame as well. And he's just wondering, what would I suggest? He's saying at the moment, like, he can happily shoot stuff with a D200, which is only a 10 megapixel camera, and he has no problems with like the file sizes and all that kind of stuff. So he's saying, is it worth going for it? Now he's giving me a little idea of like the D700 goes for around about £900 to £1,000 on websites such as that, and the D610 goes for 1,300 on Amazon. He's saying that he doesn't use video, so the video functions of the D610 would be just of no use to him whatsoever. And he's not really that fussed to buy the super high resolution. And I would, super high, 24 megapixel resolution. And I would kind of always say the higher the resolution, especially when you're shooting in RAW files, is just that little bit extra time of editing, which can make editing infuriating. So although it may mean it's only like a quarter of a second from whenever you say change white balance to plus an extra couple of hundred Kelvin, if you're doing 15 edits on one photo, white balance, clarity, brightness, contrast, this, that, color, you know, all that kind of stuff, just all that time waiting for it to slightly change everything, you're just like, so it can get very infuriating. So that's why for example, with all my property work, I use the Canon 5D Mark II 22 megapixel camera, but I shoot at raw medium, which is only 10 megapixels, because it just makes my workflow so much easier, especially with a wedding when you can easily have up to 2,000 photos from it. Then definitely, I don't know if the 610 has like a small or medium raw format, so double check that one, but that'd be the only thing I would add into that. And he's saying, is it still worth saving the money and going for the D700 as it still seems like a great camera for its age, or pay the extra 300 to 400 for the latest technology and up to date? Okay, it's a forever asking question. What I would say is there's a guy, Dennis Bertie, who's done pretty much this. He's like going, do you go to the D700 or go to the 610? And is going to the 610 an upgrade or a downgrade? So I'll put a link to his site there because he's done that, which is quite good. What I would say though, straight off like my own point of view, is I haven't used the D610 apart from picking it up, playing with it, and using it in a store. Saving the camera store. It's, for me, instantly when I picked it up, I went, oh, this feels light, cheap, and not very strong. The D610 may have a full frame sensor, but it feels less professional than even the Nikon D300, not even the D300S. So for me, it didn't inspire confidence in the gear. Granted, it's got two SD card slots and stuff, which is good for backing up stuff, but just there's something about, especially if you're doing events where you're having to just lug your gear around, having something which, I'm not necessarily talking about size, because small can be handy, but feeling flimsy is a massive turn off for myself. Granted, if you're doing something where you're going like having to travel a lot with like gear on your back, go with the lightest, go with flimsy, it doesn't really matter. But if it's something where you're potentially having to pick up, put down, you don't want something which feels like it might just kind of go, oh, there's the memory card door just flung open, oh, there's the battery just dropped out. Which I'm sure doesn't happen, but if it feels like that, it doesn't inspire confidence, and being confident with your gear whenever you're shooting can really open up creative avenues for you. What I would say though is that the Nikon D700 is still my go-to favourite super duper camera, and its ability not just in having super low noise at high ISO, but the fact that you can recover so much of the darks. In fact, I did a video where in the video what I did is I underexposed the images and I tried to recover as much detail as possible, and the Nikon D700 absolutely stormed all the other cameras, the Fuji, the Canon, and the Canon 550D, just absolutely destroyed them. So there's that kind of, again, I haven't done that test with the Nikon D610, but that is something which I would do, so that therefore I can know that I can shoot at a lower ISO, potentially have a slightly darker image, but I can recover more of it in post, especially with weddings when you have sometimes very dark locations and you don't want to go down below like 30th of a second for a photo. It could be a bit of a nightmare. So I do lots of testing of the gear that I get, so just double check that as well. But otherwise, I wouldn't ever say, oh, Nikon D700 doesn't do something which is great. It doesn't do video, everything else, perfect. I really enjoy how well it works, and I would say, yeah, if you can get it for $899 and you've saved yourself £400 and you're getting a body which is solid, what I'd probably do with that extra money, buy the extra battery grip and some extra batteries. And then you've got an absolute workhorse for you to shoot all day with, and do 7 frames a second as well. So you can even do it for sports. Fantastic. So save the money and spend it on the extra battery pack and extra batteries, and maybe another flash, and you are sorted. Hope it helps. Cheers. Bye.